Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. My name is Sharon Jameson, and I am a corporate leader, a life strategist, a minister, and a mom. And if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. I am so grateful that you are here. This is an unedited, unscripted space where I share what I'm learning in my own life, as well as what I am learning by working with some of the most amazing leaders and visionaries and healers and entrepreneurs and brave souls just like you. And so I am so honored that you are here, and I celebrate your presence, I celebrate your time, and I celebrate your energy. So welcome. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I recorded a podcast about strengths. And I said that we all have gifts and superpowers and abilities that allow us to do something extraordinary, that allows us to be exceptional as something that only we can do. And after that podcast, I heard from women, a group of women who were over 50, over 60, over 70, and they sent comments to me like, I am too old, or I miss my moment, or it's too late for me. And so I want to begin by stressing that 40 is not too old, 50 is not too old, 60 is not too old, 70 is not too old. And I think it's really important that we understand that it's never too old. We're never too late because our purpose, our calling, our strengths, they don't expire. They evolve. Now, I think we have to really talk about that because we live in this culture where speed is prioritized and people are looking for what's new, what's trendy, what's expedient. But what I also know is that in a culture that prioritizes speed and trends and newness, that we can underestimate other important factors in our lives. Factors like wisdom that you gain from living through the vicissitudes of life, about emotional depth that you gain from having success and having failures and dealing with death and disease and destruction and debt and layoffs. Things like judgment that you gain from getting it right, but also getting it wrong. And wisdom, judgment, perspectives, emotional agility, those are things that you gain throughout life, throughout the lessons, throughout the seasons, and throughout the various chapters in your life. And so we have to be careful that we don't prioritize what's new and overlook what we already know, what we have already lived, what we already can share to help people navigate all of this craziness, all the chaos, all the changes in this amazing journey called life. So today, I want to just highlight four beliefs, four perspectives. I'm getting my notes because I want to make sure that I tap on all of them because I think they're really important as we start to think about what it means to be at midlife and know that midlife is prime time. It is an exciting season. It is a time of renewal and reimagination and reinvention. And I have to tell you, as a woman who is 60 years old, this time in my life is where I feel seasoned and successful and supported and sexy. And I want you to feel all those different things if you are 40, 50, 60, 70. Because as my elders used to tell me, you're never done until you are dead. So I want us to remember that we still have juice in the tank. We still have something to offer the world, something to offer each other, and something to offer ourselves. So the first thing I want you to write down is that technology does not supersede truth. Technology does not supersede truth. Now, yes, technology helps us to be faster and to be more thorough and to distill large parts of information. But let me be clear, just because we can know more things quickly or we can distill more information, that doesn't mean that we have wisdom. It doesn't mean that we have good discernment, because more data doesn't mean more discernment. And so we know that technology and all the ways it adds to our lives, for example, AI might make us more efficient. It doesn't make us more discerning. It doesn't make us more wise. And so I think it's really important that we honor fast information, but honor discernment, judgment, emotional agility, emotional intelligence that we gain through lived experiences. And appreciate that some parts of our lives, things that make us better, that keep us well, those are some things that you build over time. Those are things are not instantaneous. So I want you to remember that truth cannot be downloaded. It has to be earned. It has to be developed. It has to be something that you feel because you have enough experiences to know how to navigate throughout all of the information that you receive in the world. Because remember, information doesn't mean insight. So I want you to know that being older gives you an advantage because you've had more experiences, you have more information, and you can tell the difference between information and wisdom and resilience and emotional agility and courage and all those types of things that life gives you opportunities to grow and develop in. So that's really important. Technology is not the same as truth. The second thing I want you to write down is traditions are not the truth. Traditions are not always the truth. Let's talk about that. When I was growing up, I was born in the 60s, and I was taught to believe that as you get older, you become less capable, you become less relevant, you become less valuable. I was told that after you get to 60, you should just, stay on the sidelines of life and not participate in the arena of life. And we know that's not true. And we have to think about how we have been conditioned and say that the ways that we have been conditioned is not your reality. That you don't have to live by this inherited scripts. You don't have to live by this sense of indoctrination. You can live by your own imagination, and you get to imagine what being 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 needs to look like for you. We don't have to restrict ourselves to stereotypes or to restrict ourselves to conditioning or our artists to these societal mandates and these cultural expectations. We just have to remember that the mandates can't contain you, the stereotypes cannot regulate you, the expectations can't define you, and the traditions that you learn about what it means to be seasoned, to age gracefully and age courageously, those are things that you have to define for yourself. So I just want you to remember that even if you are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, you don't have to be a bystander in the world. You can still be a change maker in the world because you have data. You have experiences. You know stuff because you have lived longer that will allow you to contribute and participate and be a trendsetter in your own right. So you don't have to think and believe everything that we have been told about being older. The blessing is that we are not only growing older, but if we have an open mind, we're also growing wiser. And that is a privilege, that is an honor, and that's a gift. So the third thing I want you to think about is that time uncovers the truth. Time uncovers the truth. Now, what does that mean? That means that who we really are sometimes takes time for us to really understand the depth and the gifts that we are to the world. So because time can show you how to untangle yourself from what you've been conditioned to believe about yourself, it gives you time to push back all of the false narratives, the inherited scripts, and it helps you to see what works for you, what matters to you, what aligns with you, what nourishes you. It gives you time to think about yourself and to understand and to gather and to correct or create perspectives, to get clear about who you are and who you're not, to develop strength in some areas, and to see who you were outside of all of the labels, of all of the roles and responsibilities that were forced on you. Yeah. And so instead of saying, I am too old, or instead of asking yourself, am I too old? Why not ask yourself, what has time prepared me to do now? How has time perfected me and cultivated me and strengthened me for this new chapter of my life? How has time helped me understand who I am in this amazing journey called life? How has time refined me? How has it evolved me? And I think when we understand that our strengths, our talents, our gifts, our purpose, it doesn't expire, it may evolve, we can start seeing ourselves very differently. We can start understanding that sometimes time helps us uncover the truth of who we are. It helps us uncover our hidden gifts, our beliefs, resuscitate some of the parts of us that we left behind to fit into our families, to fit into our organizations, to fit into our job. So I want you to understand that time, it can be a blessing because it gives you time to uncover, to discover, to unravel, untangle yourself for everything you have been taught and told for you to be, which is really critical. The fourth perspective I want you to really hold into your heart is that being older allows us to transfer the truth. Transfer the truth. And that transfer of truth goes both ways. I think we have to remember that we have a lot to offer other generations, and younger generations have a lot to offer us. I'm like at the cusp of being a baby boomer and an older millennial. And I know a lot because I'm 60. But I'm realizing that some of these people, these kids who are 10, 11 years old, can teach me some stuff. They are digital natives. They grew up with computers. They grew up with technology. I didn't have a computer till I finished college. So when we understand that the truth can be bi-directional, going to them and you getting from receiving from others, that you can understand, you can learn about people, you can learn from people, you can learn with people, we will understand that every generation has a piece of this puzzle. Every generation has something to offer another generation, and we should have mutual respect for what we have learned, and we should have mutual responsibility to teach each other. Because when you take old experiences and combine that with a new perspectives, when you take coping skills and combine that with the rapid rapid pace of change, you put that together, everybody wins. So we have to understand that being older allows us to transfer the truth that we learned in our generations, but also for the younger generations to transfer their truth back to us. So I want you to think about those things. One, again, technology does not supersede the truth of who you are, the truth of what you know, the truth that your gifts never expire. Two, is important to remember that some traditions are not the truth. There is no truth that states that being older means that you are less valuable and less visible, less productive, less efficient. That's not always the truth. We have to also remember, three, that time uncovers the truth. You can learn more of who you are if you appreciate that time is a privilege, so that you can uncover, discover, see who you are without the weight of your conditioning. And the fourth thing is that it allows truth to be transferred. You learn from other people and other generations, and they learn from you. And so I want us to really think about that, because when we put all that together, we can see something differently about the beauty of midlife. I call it prime time, right? And so I want to stress again, you are not too old, you're not too late, you are not lacking, you are equipped, your strength stay with you, you still have your abilities, you still have your gifts, you still have your superpowers. You might have to use them differently, but you still have them. And who you are, your strengths that you have, they cannot be limited to one profession, one job, one title, one season of your life, or one version of yourself. So I want you to understand that you have a lot to offer. You have great potential. You have many opportunities. You matter. And so today, I want you to do yourself a favor by doing three important things. One, I want you to name a strength that you have. Maybe you can do something or be something, whatever it is, name one strength that you have. The second thing I want to invite you to do is to acknowledge how that strength has already shown up in your life, how it has already served your life, how it has already allowed you to contribute to the lives of others, right? The third thing I want you to do is ask yourself, where can I use that strength, that superpower, that gift to create something new, to create something today, to create something that I really want, to create something that contributes to my own life and to the lives of others? Because not where you used to be is important, is where you are now. And everything that's already encoded in your DNA, everything that you have gained, everything that you have learned, everything that you have witnessed will help you in this amazing season of your life, which I believe is a gift. So if you are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, remember what my elders told me, that you are not done until you're dead. So give yourself permission to do what you want to do, because you have gifts. You carry something, and you have gifts that are valuable and valid and will benefit if they are visible. Yeah? So I want to leave you with this. One, if this podcast speaks to you, can you please send it to other women who might feel like it's too late or they missed their moment? To send it to other women who might be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and they feel like that there's nothing that they can leverage or contribute to the world or to their families? Please, they need to know that they have more in the tank, and they will never ask you to send something, but you know who needs it. So please send the podcast to someone who can really benefit. Two, I would love for you to join my mailing list, because in my mailing list, I have many conversations that I think might really support you. And I send it out once a week to give some perspectives or some illumination of what I am learning that I'm sure will edify you. So I want to invite you to that. And the third thing I want to invite you to is something I'm calling the Reclamation Circle. I have decided to provide a gathering for women who are 40, 50, 60, 70, women who may be interested in recalibrating their life or rethinking their career or reimagining how life can be. If you are interested in joining a small group, something around maybe 8 to 10 women, I want to invite you to that. And if that sounds like something you want to learn more about, just email me at sharon@sharonjameson.com, and just email me with the word Reclamation Circle, and I will send you some information, because I think that might be something that might really support you and speak to your soul. I think so often we are so focused on AI and other types of learning sessions that sometimes we just need a group, a safe place, a sanctuary where we can let our hair down and let our guard down and talk with people who are going through similar experiences so we can get that support and also learn from each other, because collective wisdom always helps all of us win. And then, of course, if you listen to the podcast, please subscribe. I don't know if you're listening to it on YouTube, on Apple, I'm sorry, or you're seeing me on YouTube. I'm going to try to do more of the podcast in person so we can really have a conversation about some very important issues. Please subscribe so you know when new episodes are dropping. And as we end today, I want to leave you with a blessing, a prayer that I often tell myself that I want to also share with you, hoping that it touches you and speaks to your need and your belief about the power of aging with grace and with power and with dignity. And it reads as follows: May you trust what you carry. May you honor how it has been refined over time. May you remember that your growth is not behind you, it is still unfolding. May you have the courage to use your strengths in ways that align with who you are and who you are becoming. And may you walk forward knowing that you are not too old, that you are not too late, that you are not lacking anything you need. And remember that you are ready for such a time as this. Thank you so much for joining me today. I honor you. I'm grateful to you. And I believe with all my heart that the best is still yet to come for all of us, irrespective if we are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The best is still yet to come. Thanks so much for joining me, and blessings to you always.